Alright, I expected the Rockets' half-court offense to be better with K back, but it was arguably even worse, because at least K was creating a numbers advantage, and they just couldn't exploit the backside, so there was nothing to show for it. By now, I thought they'd be prepared for the Lakers' game plan on defense, because it was nothing new, so as expected, the Lakers were reading 1 through 5, and all out hitting K just to force the rock out of his hands. The fire didn't even have to come after the switch, because really anytime he had the rock up top, they were committed to hitting, and a lot of the times, the fire was coming from the nail. They just wanted to send his passes wide, and force the Rockets into playing horizontally instead of vertically, because the shorts or passes to players flashing middle were the most dangerous spots, so they wanted to limit those as much as possible. Their backside coverage is essentially a zone, so when K was able to find the Rockets in those pockets, the Rockets were able to score, but more times than not, it was difficult for him to even make the passes over top or in the pocket, because the Lakers have length, and they just had to use their hands to deter him from even attempting to pass. It was just damn near impossible for him to do anything in his ball screens, so his turnovers were compounding, and even though he had to be better on his passes, some of it was on the other Rockets too, because there were instances of Butterfingers, or worse, them not being ready to make themselves available. Even when the Rockets tried to run a variety of off-ball screens for him, whether it was a pin down, a backside, a stack, or an away, it was still damn near impossible for him to do anything. And it was no different whenever the Rockets tried to use him as the screener, because the Lakers were too consistent with their switches. The only time they weren't, Amen was able to turn the corner off a handoff for a dunk, and the only screening actions that the Rockets had success in were the flares for K, especially out of horns, because a couple of those led to Amen diving to the rim off their high splits. I could see them going to those more, and if they don't, then I think K just has to either attack quicker or extend his dribble instead of conceding to the hit early, because at times, he was able to go away from the fire. I think he could even look for a reload after the hit, instead of just being taken out for the rest of the possession, because the Lakers don't respect the other Rockets shooting enough, so they're content with them trying to make their shots on the spot up, or even make plays, and that's obviously just leading to bad quality shots. The other Rockets just aren't that dangerous in those aspects, especially when Reed is on the bench, and they were even bricking their rare open looks from deep, or worse, smoking their bunnies at the rim. Until they can force the Lakers to honor them, the Lakers won't adjust their game plan against K, and until Alpi can beat his matchups, they won't need to help on him at the elbows or nail, because he struggled against Aiden or Hayes. Those are the only spots where they're sending minimal help, because on his or K's mid-post touches or wing isos, they're flooding or full-on tilting those, so it's on him to score when the Rockets' screening actions are getting blown up, and the Rockets can't just rely on K to generate all of their half-court offense. If he is required to, then they need to at least lock up on defense, because their best source of offense by far were their transition opportunities, so they need to get stops, and then catch the Lakers' defense not being set. That was basically their only solution against the Lakers' half-court defense, because the Lakers' defensive execution has been ridiculous in all aspects, from their ball pressure, to their denials, to their switches, and more importantly, to their rotations, so it's hard for the Rockets to break their shell. But even their offensive execution has been better, because their players have patented screening actions they look for, so they haven't needed Luka or Austin to generate consistent offense, and a lot of them are for either Braun, Smart, or Luke. Braun and Smart already have chemistry from playing together on the second unit, so either one of them can handle the rock, because both of them can make the right reads out of their two-man game on the clear side or in their horns. Those are a couple of their favorite actions, because in their two-man game, Braun can usually get a mismatch in a post on the clear side. Then in their horns, Braun can usually flow into a ball screen with Aiden if the flare isn't there, so they know their progressions, and even Luke already knows how to manipulate his screening actions. In this game, the three were usually getting a lot of early aways and getting a lot of ball screens because they were able to exploit the Rockets' biggest coverages consistently, so no matter if it was a drop or show, they were always making the right read to score or pass. In the third, the Rockets even had to start switching then firing because LB was struggling against bronze ball screens, and unlike them, the Lakers were actually able to exploit the backside. Their spacing was a big contrast compared to the Rockets, and the Rockets even started firing against bronze post touches too. So the only spots he didn't see help were at the elbows or nail, because for some reason, he just could not score on his ones playing out of those. But those were the only spots he struggled in, because him, Smart, and Luke were able to consistently beat their man off the dribble, especially in transition. So whenever the Rockets couldn't get matched up or set their defense, those three made him pay. That's where the majority of their fouls were coming from, and if it wasn't a foul, then it was a lay, midi, or tray, because same as game 1, the Rockets really struggled to contain the Rock again. The way the Lakers were generating offense off their defense has to be the way the Rockets do, because they're losing the half-court game, so they have to win the transition game by a big margin, and I expected them to coming into the series, but it's been the Lakers out executing them by a big margin on both ends of the floor. Just watch the tape.